You can go weeks without eating food, but you can only go a couple of days without having water. Water feeds our relationships. Water feeds the bounty of wheat and corn and flowers that we harvest every single day. The ones that you're outside your window when you have a basil plant. Water, if you don't water it, they get dry and they die. It's the same exact principle when you think about your relationships. The same way that you cultivate the ground and the earth by choosing the seeds beautifully and carefully, by making sure that you have fertilizer and proper soil to place the seed in, make sure it's getting the right amount of light and the right amount of water and the right amount of protection and shade. And you water the plant every single week or 2 or 3 times a week, and then you ensure that you have a nice, sturdy, beautiful, healthy plant. Sometimes you got to fertilize it, sometimes you got to change the position. Water feeds. When you think about that, how are you using the acronym of WATER to improve your relationship, your marriage, your spouse? Second to you is the most important person in your life. Then it's the children, and you have your friends and your family. But in that order, it's typically you as your own individual person and your spouse. It's the two of you as a unit, because everything in your life is created from that unit. Your children, your relationships with your friends and family members, it all comes from there, as did you. Water feeds and nourishes everything about you. So when you think about water fills the cup of a relationship, water feeds every aspect of it, and it can be used as a clear acronym to help you evolutionize your relationship. So water stands for words, attention, time, energy, and romance. I'm going to go through and break down each one of the letters, define them, and then afterwards we're going to talk about how you can use water, the acronym of water, to feed your relationship and improve it and create it and make it exactly what you've always wanted it to be. And if you're single or divorced or a widower, because I have been all of those, so I know exactly how it's important to use water in your everyday moments with yourself, when you are building and redeveloping yourself to go from being a widow to going back out into the market and experiencing that, being in a relationship again, or if you're going out here and you need a little bit of help in developing and building the skills that you need in order to have the life and relationship that you want. Water. Words. Positive words affect every aspect of your life. If you think about it, somebody says something nice to you, changes your mood, changes your state, you're walking a little taller, being a little nicer, everything is fabulous. If someone says something a little cross, you got an attitude, or it makes you feel sad, or it affects you in such a difficult way. So imagine when you have positive words and you use them in the relationship with the person who is the most important person in your life other than yourself, is your spouse. Because you and your spouse are the nucleus of everything you build and develop in your relationship. Your children, the homes, your activities, your friend circles, the holidays with your family, holidays with yourself. It's always you and the kids. This is my third marriage. I have counseled hundreds of couples, and what I've learned is this: the way that you engage with your partner truly and clearly gives you the picture of the longevity of your relationship. Using positive words to affirm your partner. Something as easy as, hey babe, thanks for throwing the garbage away. Super appreciate that. Or babe, generous of you to spend not only going out and having a great baseball, watching the kids practice, but also going out and having time and having dinner together, because I know that you have that proposal that you're building time for tomorrow. So you've been very generous with your time. I really appreciate it. The kids and I really appreciate it. You see how nice those words can be? They're so affirming. Words can also be destructive. They create resentment. They create confusion. If you're triggered or numbed out because of your previous relationship experiences and you haven't processed that, and you come into a relationship and you have a disagreement and argument and you're being reactive because of something that happened to you in the past that has absolutely nothing to do with your current relationship, and you spew those damaging reactive words into it, it gets rather destructive. So it's important to remember W is for words, and it's the single, distinct, meaningful element of speech. You have the power to create everything in your relationship and everything for you. So use your words wisely. The second letter in the acronym for water is attention. Think about it. The same way that you look at your basil plants, or you look at your rosemary plants, or maybe you don't have a green thumb and you kill everything. Is it too much water? Not enough fertilizer? Do you have the plant on top of the air conditioner? Do you have the plant in a lot of sun and it can't take it? It's such a great analogy for being able to look into your life and go, okay, being able to look at a situation and go, am I spending enough time? Can I decipher what's working and what isn't working in this situation? And how do I move it and develop it and bring it forward? Is such a great way of self-assessment and being able to be aware of your surroundings. So when you think about A and attention, it's the action of dealing with or taking special care of someone or something. That's attention. It's attention to detail. It's attention when you're cooking. You're making sure you have just enough salt and enough garlic and just making sure the sauce is delicious. It's making sure that you love the shoes, that they're polished really well before you go out for the evening. Or it's making sure that your lipstick, that you love your lipstick, or that you have the proper gel, or that you've brushed your teeth. Attention also comes in the part of nourishing your relationship, of spending time with one another, right? That is one of the things to do, but attention to touching each other lovingly, holding each other's hands, taking time to caress each other when you're walking by the kitchen, and just make that connection. Having that attention really creates such a beautiful, soft, loving, safe space for you and your relationship. The third one is time, which I alluded to during attention. Time is a point of time, of hours or minutes. It's something that you plan, something that you schedule, or something that you arrange. When you think about time in your relationship, and you're looking at how much time do you and your spouse spend together in the course of the day, in the course of the week. One of the biggest breakdowns that happen in every one of our marital relationships is that within 36 months to 40 months after you're married and you're together, statistically, love fades. And I don't agree that love fades. What I agree with is that we focus all of our attention and we focus all of our time on making money to have the house, to have the cars, to have the area rugs, to have the proper furniture. We have the time and the attention to work a couple of extra hours because we want to go on this vacation. But are you taking that same time to spend with one another? Because at the beginning, before you got married, Do you remember how you would take the time to pick beautiful, sexy bras and underwear, and you'd shave and, cologne and perfume and makeup, and you go to the gym and make sure that everything was just and delicious every time you met? When was the last time you did that in your relationship? Are you wearing those sweatpants every day, every way? Is your hair disheveled? Are you even taking a moment to invest that time and that attention in your relationship, in yourself, to ensure that water is feeding and nurturing what you want to cultivate in your relationship with your spouse? The fourth letter in the acronym of water, which is the game changer in hydrating your relationship, is energy. How many times in your relationship have you heard, "Oh my God, I just don't have the energy to talk to you about this right now"? How do those words make you feel? What are those words saying to you about your relationship? How many times have you taken the kids to their practices, taken to school, gone to work, hung out with your friends, come back with your family, and then you come home and you're exhausted because you don't have the time or the attention or the energy to focus and put in to your own relationship? Let's think about it, boys and girls. Relationships take work. They take effort. And the reason you're with this person is because you love them and you chose them and you want to be with them. And everything that you've built and created, you too have planned, you have scheduled, you have arranged, you have executed, and you have achieved. That same type of effort is absolutely warranted in building and developing the most amazing relationship that you could ever have, just by being careful with the words that you use, being able to focus your attention, to give the time to building and developing the chemistry, the intimacy, the love, the connection between the two of you, and having that energy when you walk out the door and you're taking the kids to school and you meet your fellow mothers in the carpool or a teacher and you're like, "Oh my God, hi, how are you? Oh, how was the bake-off?" Or, "Hey, how was Tommy's baseball game? Sorry I missed it. Did you guys have a good time?" Wasn't that like nice energy? And then you come home and you're like, "Ugh, I am so tired. I don't even have it." And that's okay if it happens every once in a while. We're living a real world, having a real life, and we're here having this experience. Showing that time and attention and energy to your partner and having that conversation and saying, "Babe, like Brene Brown says, I got 10% out of 100. What do you got? 30? Well, maybe you can carry us today because I don't have it." Being able to use your words to ask diligently for what you want in your relationships and be able to negotiate the space helps to create that deep, trusting, loving bond. So energy is the strength and vitality required to sustain physical or mental activity. So when you think about energy, the way that you show up for yourself and the way that you show up for your spouse is so important, because it really shows the attention to detail. It really shows who and what's most important in your life. So if you can go out and show up that energy for your girlfriends and your guy friends and your co-workers and the kids and your parents and your siblings and the dog when you have to take it for a walk, can you see how that energy in the course of the day gets completely depleted and you just show up for your spouse like, "Hey babe, how are you? Oh my God, I just want to lounge on this couch with you and cuddle because, I don't have it." You still want that energy. The way that you showed up before you got married, before you got kids, you were so cautious and loving, and you were exchanging all this beautiful energy and love and attention to one another. Remember, energy is part of that attention to detail. It's making sure that using the acronym of water in building and developing your relationship ensures that you have healthy longevity in your relationships. And then the most important one, I feel, is romance. Because romance, yeah, you think about romance, it's the cuddling and the it's the courtship behavior. That's what romance is. Romance is the courtship behavior. What you did before you got married is exactly what you continue doing throughout the rest of your relationship. That's why things get so dehydrated. If you think about, are you using positive words to communicate effectively with one another? Now, there's always going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight. Let's be honest. There's always going to be a moment. Those knockdown, drag-out fights come from not expressing your wants and needs and desires clearly and concisely. It comes from being frustrated. It comes from when something happened, you're like, ugh, I'm not even going to deal with it, whatever. And then it happens again. And then you say it, you're like, hey, can you change that thing a little bit, that behavior? It's not working, right? And then you happen to say it again. And then it's a knockdown, drag out. You never do what I say and this happens because you're not taking the time. You're not paying attention to one another. You're not focusing that energy. You're not using the positive words to be able to build and develop a healthy relationship. Romance is like the frosting on the cake to your relationship. Romance is what creates the intimacy. Romance is the courtship behavior that got you together to begin with. That courtship behavior that's undertaken by an individual to express those overall feelings and results of emotion. So when you're looking at your relationship and you think of water as an acronym, words, attention, time, energy, to actually get the partner, live together, put a ring on it, have the marriage. And then afterwards, people believe that that's all it takes. We're here. We're in this moment. We're done. We don't got to do anything else because we have each other. I'm going to tell you right now, bullshit. Once you get married, that's when the work really starts. Because using water as the acronym to feed your relationship is so incredibly useful. And it's one of those things that are consistent. You use water with discipline and consistency to ensure you have the outcome that you want in your relationships. So let's talk about this. What are you doing in your relationship right now that has you feeling that you're hydrated, like your skin is glowing, that you are urinating 2 or 3 times a day because you are drinking the water. The water is flowing, the kidneys are working, you have clear, acute beautifulness of your brain. It's working clearly and concisely. You can think, there's no brain fog, you have high energy, and you feel good. Tell me, words, positive, attention, time, energy, and romance. When you look at your whole relationship, where can you implement words, attention, time, energy, or romance to get it hydrated and get it going again? Water is something you and I cannot go more than 2 or 3 days because our entire system shuts down. It's the same thing that happens in your relationship. If you're not feeding it and nourishing it, it's gonna shut down. And this is what is the precursor to having a divorce. So if you don't want to have a divorce, you love the person that you're with, you want to get past the resentment, you want to get past the anger and frustration, and you want to start being open and honest and vulnerable with your partner, your spouse, and saying, hey, there are these spots in our relationship that aren't really working. I, I can see that you and I agree on this. So instead of hiding from it, how do we work together to use the acronym of water in hydrating our relationship? Is it that you're not taking the time to speak positively to one another, to have those encouraging, supportive conversations that brought you to be in a relationship to begin with? If not, there's a video that I have here about how do you communicate effectively in your relationships and express your wants and needs and desires. It's here. Go check it out. How about attention? Are you spending quality time with each other and giving each other that attention? It could be sitting on the couch and rubbing each other's feet because they're sore. That kind of attention, that action of dealing with or taking special care of someone or something, giving each other body massages. It could be having the attention to that you know your husband likes this special kind of candy or this special kind of pasta. That small little gesture just makes the world a better place. Or it could be that you know that your wife, you can see that her perfume is really low and that's her favorite perfume, and you're going to the mall today with the kids to go pick out some jeans and some other stuff. Stop by the store and pick up her favorite perfume and give it to her just because. You focused, you paid attention, and you know that these are the things that make her feel good. And she smells good. And you like the way she smells. So it's a double-sided reward. It's a benefit for both of you. The other thing is time. We are so planned and scheduled and arranged in our society. We have the kids' work schedules, school schedules, their practice schedules. We have our own sports and our own activities. We have time with our family. We have time with our friends. How much time are you spending together? How much time in the course of the week are you sitting down to reconnecting and having dinner together and having a conversation? I watched this great podcaster the other day, and he was talking about that he and his wife, super multimillionaire, just cranking it, having a best thing. And he said that he noticed about year 5 or 7 in their marriage, it was starting to, crumble a little bit. And he said, let me apply some of the things that I apply in my everyday work environment and bring it home. So when you see something's happening, acknowledging, sit down, take the time, take the attention, take the energy to go, hey, there's a breakdown here. What's going on? Let's connect. Let's talk about this. Let's figure out where we've gone wrong and how do we move forward. They do this every Wednesday. They have this time that they have dinner together. And I have to say, since I watched this in the podcast, I've implemented this in my own relationship, and it really does work. Just taking a quick scan in the course of your relationship of what's working, what's not working, what's going on with the kids, if you have kids, or if you have fur babies, it doesn't matter. What's going on with work, what's going on with your physical activities, what's going on with your family, what's going on with your friends, this whole schedule that you have, taking the time to make sure that you and your spouse are together, spending time having dinner or going away for a weekend, cultivating those deep, loving, harmonious moments that water and feed the rest of your relationship. Because you and I both know that when you have a wicked, fabulous relationship weekend with your partner, you just come back on cloud 9. Everything is fabulous, everything works, and you just have that energy to move forward and just do whatever needs to be done. You feel connected, you're intimate, the sex was great, you had so much fun together. You talked about your dreams and what you want in life and what your next steps are, and you planned and you figured out what's the next step in your succession in your relationship. And you come back just so connected. You know that happens every single time. And yet we do it maybe once or twice a year. think about scheduling, because time is not only about a point of time measured in hours or minutes, time is also about planned, scheduled, arranged. So putting that time and energy into your romance will come back to you in returns 1,000-fold, because you know a relationship is doing well when people touch each other, when they have those longing glances, when they smile at one another, when they have those kind words, when they sit together, they touch each other, they come in together, they look connected. If that's what you're looking for, if that's what you want to build and develop and cultivate in your relationship, use the acronym of WATER, which is words. Positive words is W. A is attention. T is time. E is energy. And R is romance. Use the acronym in WATER so that your relationship is no longer dehydrated. Use the acronym of WATER for a successful relationship. You take that time to build and develop exactly what you want. You use those words to create what you want in your relationship, what you want in one another. Use those words for yourself and use them for your partner. Take that time and focus on the attention, not only to yourself, but also to one another. Because cultivating that attention is going to really hone it in on you two, attention to one another, attention to details, and being able to have the time to cultivate a deep relationship. And I'm telling you, that time and energy, it can be having a massage on the couch. It could be cooking your partner's spouse's favorite meal. It could be going for a run together. It could be getting massages. It could be sitting on the backyard having a nice cup of tea, looking at the stars, and doing the kind of things that you guys did before you had the house, before you had the kids, before you had the duties and responsibilities that knock the sexiness out of any relationship. That's why WATER as an acronym is imperative to ensure that you end up with that relationship that speaks positively to one another. You focus on taking attention and time to one another, have positive energy, and come up instead of being exhausted and whatever. We're all tired. Life happens, but you are completely responsible for everything that happens in your life. And you and your partner are completely responsible how things function and don't function in your relationship. So this channel and all of its content, it's about ensuring that we are all happy, which is an action, but most importantly, that we're vulnerable to the challenges that are happening around us, and that we become accountable and responsible to ensuring we find a solution and move on. Because, darling, if you haven't seen this before, I'm going to tell you now, there's always going to be another challenge. So it's just best to be able to focus on that challenge and say, how do we move from here to there? Make a little plan, take the steps, and move forward, because there's going to be another one. And the two of you together in your relationship are the center. Everything that you do in your relationship, in your family life, everything on this channel is about ensuring that you and I are consistently vulnerable to the challenges in our life, and that we become accountable and responsible to finding a solution. Because if you haven't noticed the pattern in life as of now, then let me share this with you. There's always going to be another challenge. There's always going to be another situation. And this channel is all about giving you the tools and the resources you need in order to recognize that you are the beginning and end of every aspect of your life. So if it's about learning a skill or developing a different skill set, a way of engaging with yourself and those around you, then that's what you and I are here for. Every Thursday I drop a new video. Make sure that you subscribe and click the like button because it lets me know that this content is something that you like, and it gives me a sign that keep putting out more stuff like this. And it really helps me if you write in the comments below and tell me what you liked, what you learned, when you applied it, this is the effect that you got, and that you would like to know more about these other topics in relation to relationships, to marriage, to self. It's all about building and developing new skills so that we can be our best selves and have robust and flexible lives. I'll see you in the next one.